Hey everyone, welcome to Trail Sage, and today we're talking about the Specialized Butcher with the T7 compound and grid trail casing. I've been running them as a rear tire for the last 4 months, putting close to 500 miles of punishing rides on this tire, and man, they have been impressive. I hadn't ridden on Specialized tires for a few years, and I was curious to see if their new compound and tread pattern could hold up to the harsh terrain that I love to ride on. From big rock slabs to loose gravelly downhill runs, I tested them in a variety of conditions to see if they could hold up to the hype. And they did for the most part, but we'll get into that later. I also compared them to the American Classic Basanite, which is another sub $50 tire that I reviewed, and I'll let you know which one I would go for. But before we get into all of that, let's go over the specs. As a 27.5 by 2.3 inch tire, the Butcher weighed in at 911 grams, which is pretty light. The tread pattern is fairly aggressive with 4mm ramp lugs running down the center and 8mm lugs on the shoulder. Both the center and edge lugs are psyched to improve traction. The 60 TPI grid trail casing is reinforced, and Specialized claims a 15% increase in pinch flat protection as well as a 30% increase in puncture protection. The rubber is made of Specialized's new T7 Gripton compound, which is said to enhance rolling speed while still providing a lot of grip. And to hold the tire on the rim, there's a foldable bead, and it's designed to be tubeless ready. Finally, the Butcher is offered in several widths and is available in a 27.5 and 29 inch diameter. And if you're looking for maximum traction, you can opt for the T9 compound. There's even a gravity trail casing available for those who need some extra protection. Okay, so now that you know the specs, here are my likes. These tires definitely lived up to the hype. As I said in my intro, it's been years since I'd run Specialized tires, but they've really upped their game. The new T7 compound is grippy, and I had no issues finding traction. From hard-packed single track to the loose bumpy terrain at the downhill parks, these tires made me feel confident at speed. And on the slow speed tech lines that I love to ride on, they grip the rock better than any other tire I've used. During the 4 months of testing, I could actually feel a slight difference from the Basanite tires I was running previously, and in fact, when I put them through my traction test, my feelings were confirmed. I placed 8 pounds of weight into each tire and pulled them across the sandpaper multiple times to see how much force it would take to drag them off the line. The result? The Basanites took an average of 13 pounds of force to pull them across the sandpaper, while the Butcher averaged almost 1 pound more at 14 pounds of force. And while I call this a traction test, I want to be clear, we're really only testing the stickiness of the rubber. There's so much more that goes into traction, including PSI, tread pattern, and terrain. But for me, this test proved that my hunch was correct. While out on the trails, I did feel that the Butcher had a slightly better grip, especially on the rocks. And while I can't tell you if their claims of puncture resistance are true, I can tell you that I didn't run into any flats while testing this tire. By the way, these tests and videos take a lot of time to create and produce, so if you're enjoying this video, hit that like button. And if this is your 3rd or 4th video that you're watching of mine, consider becoming a member. It's only $2 a month, it comes with a lot of perks, and it really helps the channel grow. Alright, back to my likes. I was also pleased with how light these tires were. Not all weight can be calculated the same, and adding rolling weight is one of those things that can really impact your riding. But it's not as simple as just running out and getting some lightweight XC tires. I needed something with more protection and bigger lugs, so using a tire like the Butcher, which came in under 1,000 grams, was awesome. Having lighter tires means it's easier to get up to speed and retains a playfulness when picking your way through tech lines or grabbing some air. All in all, these tires performed well in all conditions and exceeded my expectations. But it wasn't all roses and cherry sundaes. I did find one big downside. All tires have a lifespan as the sidewalls and treads start to wear down. Usually this will happen gradually, giving you time to decide if and when you want to replace the tire. For me, budgets are tight, so I typically try and push my tires to the end when the traction becomes noticeably bad. But that's where I noticed the biggest problem. I was preparing my bike for an awesome day at the bike park when I noticed that one of the lugs was on the brink of falling off. Seeing this, I quickly rotated my tire to see if there were more lugs experiencing the same issue, and I was surprised to find multiple lugs detached and several more with serious tears, exposing the threads underneath. Now, I don't know if this is typical of Specialized tires or if this was just a one-time flaw, but I was extremely disappointed. Having lugs shear off like this in multiple spots is not only dangerous, but it also puts a definitive end to the life of the tire. So squeezing a few extra miles out of this tire is certainly out of the question. But I'm curious, have any of you run into the same issue with the Butcher or any other Specialized tire? Let me know in the comments below. But that's it for my complaints, so let's move on to something a little bit more pleasing, and that's the price. You can find the Butcher for just under $50, which is an absolute bargain. With tire prices skyrocketing these days, it's nice to know that Specialized is keeping their cost of their tires to a reasonable amount. You can find these online, but I purchased mine from my local shop at Mainline Cycles, so if you're in the Philadelphia area, check these guys out. They have a ton of bikes and gear, and the service is the best in the biz. So the big question is, between the two sub $50 tires that I tested, which one would I go for? The answer is the American Classic Basanite, and the reason is simple. The lugs being sheared off like that was just unacceptable in my opinion. I need a tire that will last longer and give me the power to decide when to replace it, and while there was a tiny increase in traction with the Butcher, the difference was small, and frankly, I prefer the deeper lugs and slightly harder compound on the Basanites. Having said that, the Butcher did impress me throughout all my testing, and I absolutely enjoyed using them. Unfortunately, for the reasons that I just described, I won't be going back to them, and I would have a hard time recommending them knowing that there are other sub $50 tires out there that perform just as good. But you know what? For the price, you may want to try them out for yourself and see what you think. If you do, let me know if you experienced the same issue. Well, that's it for this video. If you have any feedback or questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe, or even better, join now for some extra perks. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, welcome to Almost didn't have the mic in place. How many times are we gonna do that, right? Hey everyone, welcome to Trail Sage, and this week and today we're talking about it's like Bus Central. Increase in pinch flat for 15% in punch, and it's designed to be, and to hold that tire to the rim, there's, usually this will happen. You can find these online, but I bought mine at my local bike shop. You can find these online, but I bought mine from my local. If you do, let me know if you experienced the same issue. Well, that does it for the. Oh my God! Nice. Oh, that's tricky. What is going on?
No big deal. No big deal. That was nothing.